What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL, leader of the handmadeandbeyond.com website and community. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur, an Etsy expert, and business coach who's figured out how to make my entire living with my handmade business. Each week, I'll dive into strategies and success tips to help you with your handmade business, with Etsy, and everything in between. Let's dive in. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. LL here, your humble guide and leader. I'm back with you with another great episode to help you guys start, build, and grow your Etsy business. Not much fluff as usual. You guys know I like to dig right in. That's why you're here. I don't want to waste your time. We want to dig right into some knowledge bombs for you guys and just help you give the information to help you grow your business and do better in your business. At the end of the day, that's what we want, and that's what I want for you as well. So today's episode, I want to talk about, should you increase prices and the benefits of doing so? This is something that I don't think a lot of people put enough thought into it at the beginning, and maybe it's because they're just not sure or they just piggyback on what other people are doing. But it's something that really can change your business in a positive way if you get your pricing correct. So a lot of people start out and they price their stuff really, really low. And a lot of times it's probably too low. They have a fear, or you may have a fear of turning customers away. If it's too high, you may, think that maybe you're not valuable enough, or your stuff's not valuable enough for people to pay for it. A lot of people have a fear, I think, of even getting started to begin with, and not succeeding. They get so scared of that if they do get started, then they're scared of pricing, so they price their stuff really, really low at a heavy discount, and then it really hurts their business because you don't have a lot of skin in the game, you're not making a lot of money, and it creates a negative atmosphere around your business because you're in the, you do this to make money. It may be a hobby at the beginning, but a lot of people start it because they want it to be an actual business. So that's why starting it with the pricing, you're having your prices correct and probably a little bit higher, can really help drive your business forward in a big way. In worst case, you raise your prices and it doesn't work, you can always bring them back down. But you have to, I think, start, invest with knowledge and research in your niche and what you're selling, so you guys can start out of the gate with the correct pricing, or pretty close. There's really no wrong answer when it comes to pricing. You can really do anything that you want, but you really have to consider your margins and if the time that you're putting into it, and just make it worth your time. That is the biggest thing. So pricing starts with profit margins. So you have to consider your profit margins so you know where to price your stuff. Profit margin consideration comes into the time that takes you to make your items. If you're making your own stuff or designing your own stuff, the cost of materials, the cost of everything that you buy to make the stuff, the cost of shipping supplies, and then also the fees that Etsy charges as well. So all that stuff goes into figuring out what your profit margin is. Again, the higher the profit margin, the better, because that is more money in your pocket that you can reinvest in your business and also use for yourself, to buy yourself stuff or pay bills or whatever the goals that you have set forth. So profit margins can be a little tricky at the beginning to figure out, and it may be a little bit. The time aspect is one piece that kind of gets a little bit tricky and trips people up. You can figure out an hourly rate, what you want to pay yourself, and figure that into your profit margin, or you can just save that and figure that out later on and just do it solely based on material costs. Because if you're doing it solely based on material costs only, your profit margin should be above 50%. And then if you figure in your hourly rate, it's probably going to bring it down a little bit, but you still want to have a decent profit margin. If you're operating on a super slim margin where you're only making a dollar or two, or you're only making 5-10% margin, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be a tough road to plow, because you're not giving yourself room, for promotion, for marketing, for added expenses that may come up, down the road. So that's why it's so important to have the correct pricing. If you need help figuring out profit margins, there are calculators out there. I use Alora has a free calculator. If you guys have used Alora before for like SEO and keywords, you don't even need an account. They have a free calculator where you can pop in your costs, and then it pops in the Etsy fees, and it'll actually tell you your profit margin percentage, which is pretty cool. And you can figure in ad expenses, toggle that on and off, and put in shipping costs and all that good stuff. So I'll play around with that. There'll be a link below if you guys want to check that out. Pretty cool calculator to help you figure out your profit margins and pricing. The next step is, so you can play around with that to kind of see what would be a good profit margin, but you still need to research your pricing for your niche specifically. So depending on what you're selling, what products you're selling, what price or price range are you going to use? So you can scour Etsy and scour competitors doing it that way, but you can use, again, the tools in Alora help make this a lot easier, and that's why we like to use these tools. You can use Keyword Finder. They have a new product seeker tool. They have a Chrome extension tool as well, and all that does is you search by keywords, and it'll bring up related products, and it'll have the average price depending on what products you're looking at, what keywords you're using. So you can get a pretty good idea of what the price range is, and then you can usually dive in deeper and see what actually people are selling and make sure it's related to what you're selling, and just get a good idea of the range of prices out there, and then decide with the calculator for your profit margins, determine which is going to be a viable price for you. And I wouldn't necessarily go towards the lowest end of that spectrum. Lower is not always better, especially when it comes to selling on Etsy. People don't always want the cheapest item. They want something that's, handmade or vintage or whatever, that's well made from a real person that has a lot high quality. So if you can provide that, then go for, the middle to high range pricing. Pay yourself what you're worth. So a lot of people shortchange themselves when it comes to that. And if your stuff is just by looking at competition, and your stuff, your special sauce, whatever you're selling is just super high tier, super awesome compared to what's out there, charge higher than anyone else out there. That is a product, that is a differentiator of your product. It can be pricing. You can tier yourself as an elite seller with that product because you're doing something that people aren't doing, and you're creating a lot more value, so you can sell it for a lot more. So a couple benefits of raising pricing, kind of to circle back with some of the things that we were talking about. More profit and revenue, of course, which will just help your business as a whole. It'll give you more money in your pocket, more money to reinvest, more money for marketing, more money for ads, all that good stuff. Like I just talked about, more perceived value, rather, if I could spit that out. Customers on Etsy, like I said, don't always buy the cheapest, especially when the item looks high quality. It's superior to other products out there. And maybe if it's not superior, if it's pretty good, think of ways that you can differentiate yourself to charge more. Maybe you want to add value by adding an accessory, or adding a nice bag that it goes in, or nice packaging that it ships out in. Stuff like that can be a differentiator where you can create more value, and then in return raise your prices. Companies do this all the time. You can also, another benefit is targeting higher tier buyers that may buy from you again if they're really pleased with the product, thus increasing revenue. So if you're offering a higher tier product, you're charging more, you're attracting those people that want to spend more, which there are those people in there, and they're going to hopefully come back and buy from you again. So that's good. You'll have more freedom and flexibility because you'll be making more revenue, right? More money for business expenses, advertising, and you can pay yourself more. I think the biggest mistake that people make is when they start a business, they get in a niche, or they get in somewhere where they don't think about margins, and they're not making very much money. And you have to sell a ton of stuff if you're not making much margin on your items. And that's hard to do. It's hard enough to sell a ton of stuff regardless. But if you need to sell a ton of stuff because your margins are super small, then that is even harder. And it's going to be hard to stay motivated to continue down that path. So you guys are worth it. Don't shortchange yourself. Make sure you're charging high enough prices. Do that research. Use those calculators and figure out if you're charging enough. There's nothing wrong with raising prices, even if you're making sales. If you're making a lot of sales, maybe you're charging too low. I see it all the time. People are doing a lot of work. They're putting a lot of time into their products, and it shows. It's an awesome product. They are charging way, way too low. So think about what you're selling. You can probably raise your prices. Like I said, worst case, you can change them back, but don't be scared. You're worth it. Believe in yourself. Believe in your products. Charge what they're worth. And at the end of the day, you'll be making more revenue, which will be good for you, and it'll be good for your business. Outside of that, if you guys are not in the Handmade and Beyond community yet, I would love to have you in there. I'm always talking about it because I believe in the program. I see lots of success in there. It's a community of people, like-minded individuals trying to start, build, and grow their Etsy businesses. I'm there in the help forum to give you guys support, give you guys strategies, give you guys feedback, whatever you need. In the help forum, I have live monthly coaching calls. And then there's the Etsy Success Roadmap, over 50 courses showing you what to do in your business, showing you the strategies you need to grow and build a solid business. No gimmicks, no tricks. This is real stuff. I want you to build a solid business. So even someday if you leave Etsy, you're still going to have a solid foundation and know what to do. So you guys can get in there. 30 days free. Test it out. Test drive everything out. Join the community. I know you guys will love it. I hope to see you in there soon. Outside of that, I will be back next week with another awesome episode for you guys.